Welcome everyone. Join us today as we explore the life and legacy of Glenn Hughes, the bassist, singer and songwriter from Trapeze and Deep Purple, whose remarkable career has made him one of the most distinctive and respected musicians in rock history. So let's dive in. Glenn Hughes, born the 21st of August 1951, in Cannock, Staffordshire, England. Born the only child, in a modest home on St. John's Road, beside the Crystal Fountain pub, where music was simply part of daily life. His parents, Sheila and William, named him after Glenn Miller, reflecting their deep love of popular music. The small two-bedroom house was shared with his grandmother Nellie and great-grandmother Sally, who slept in the living room. Though crowded and working class, it was rich in warmth and affection. His father worked for the National Coal Board, while his mother was a homemaker until she later took outside work when finances demanded. Money was tight, but music was never a luxury. Johnny Mathis, Nat King Cole and countless others filled the home, and Glenn absorbed it all long before he imagined a future in music. Energetic and physically driven, he threw himself into football, discus, javelin and netball, a hint of the restless energy he would later bring to the stage. He attended John Wood Infants, Walhouse Primary, and then Blake Secondary Modern, and by the time he settled there in 1962, music was becoming central to his life. His first instrument was the trombone, chosen for the school orchestra, because his lips suited the embouchure, though reading music never came easily. His mother sensed something deeper and bought him a plastic Elvis Presley guitar, which he played until it wore out. When she replaced it with an acoustic, music stopped being theory, and became something physical and personal. By 10 or 11, guitars had taken hold. He listened to his parents' records and thought he was too young for them, yet soul music pulled him in with irresistible force. Television added fuel. In early 1963, during the Twist and Shout era, he saw the Beatles and knew he wanted that life. Like countless British teens, Glenn lived for radio and his dancer turntable, buying cheap Embassy singles from Woolworths. In his mid-teens, school bands built his confidence alongside close friend Andy Atwood. His tastes were firmly set. Elvis Presley and Cliff Richard barely moved him, while Hank Marvin and the Shadows had already revealed the guitar's power through Apache, and Marvin Gaye, the emotional depth of soul, which spoke deeply. He wasn't chasing polish, but feeling something to experience and awaken in others. That blend of a loving working-class home, total immersion in music, discipline from bands, and a deep connection to soul became the foundation for everything that followed. By the late 1960s, Glenn was no longer dreaming, he was building a career. Rehearsals, local bands and live shows sharpened his instincts. Though he began on guitar and trombone, the bass became his true voice, allowing him to combine rhythm, melody and power. He refused to stay in the background, singing lead while driving the music forward with soulful phrasing and rock intensity. His first professional break came with group Finders Keepers, a Birmingham band mixing pop and soul. Recording sessions, touring and singles such as On the Green Side of the Grass, brought discipline even without hits. Glenn learned studio craft, vocal control and the frustration of near-miss success. By 1969 he wanted more power and freedom, leading him to Trapeze. The band soon became a power trio with Mel Galley and Dave Holland, signed to Threshold Records. Trapeze focused heavily on the United States, absorbing soul, funk, blues and hard rock. Their albums Trapeze and Medusa, both in 1970, and You Are the Music Were Just the Band, in 1972, built a reputation, with Medusa becoming a standout. Glenn emerged as a rare frontman bassist with a soaring, soulful voice, and by 1973 his reputation eclipsed the band itself. When Deep Purple lost Roger Glover and Ian Gillan, Glenn's name rose swiftly to the forefront, a natural fit for their evolving needs. He hesitated until the idea of dual lead vocals took shape with David Coverdale. The Mark III era began with Burn, in 1974, a revitalized, groove-infused reinvention. Songs like Burn, Mistreated, and Sail Away showcased Glenn's harmonies and chemistry with Coverdale. The album was a worldwide success, and in April 1974 the band headlined California Jam, before over 250,000 people. Later that year, album Stormbringer pushed Glenn's funk and soul influences further, creating tension with Ritchie Blackmore. In 1975, Blackmore left and Tommy Bolin joined for the Mark IV lineup. Their album Come Taste the Band showcased Glenn's expanding vocal role on songs like Getting Tighter and You Keep On Movin'. Though well received, touring was strained by exhaustion and substance abuse, and in 1976 Deep Purple disbanded. At just 24, Glenn lost the structure that had held his life together. He recorded solo album Play Me Out in 1977, and married Karen Ulibarri, who had previously shared a relationship with guitarist Tommy Bolin, but addiction took hold. Cocaine eroded his health and career, even as he worked with George Harrison, Pat Travers, and Gary Moore. By the late 1980s he was broke, homeless at times, and watching a once hard-earned reputation begin to slip. Yet he refused to disappear. In 1991, after suffering a near-fatal, drug-induced heart attack, he entered rehab, and after setbacks, sobriety took hold. Recovery became rebirth. His 1994 album From Now On marked a return, followed by a prolific run of respected solo records through the 1990s and 2000s. That showed not only endurance, but artistic growth, including Burning Japan Live in 1994, Feel in 1995, Addiction in 1996, The Way It Is in 1999, Building the Machine in 2001, Songs in the Key of Rock in 2003, Soul Mover in 2005, and Music for the Divine in 2006. These records fused hard rock with soul, funk and blues, while Glenn's voice, remarkably, grew stronger with age. Critics who had once underestimated his vocal power now recognized him as one of the great singers in rock history. At the same time, Glenn became one of the most in-demand collaborators in the genre, working with artists such as Joe Satriani, Chad Smith, Dave Navarro, Rob Zombie and especially Tony Iommi. His projects with the Black Sabbath guitarist, the 1996 DEP sessions and Fused, brought together heavy metal and deep soul, expanding his audience to an entirely new generation. Later in 2010, he reached another major peak as the frontman of Black Country Communion, alongside Joe Bonamassa, Jason Bonham and Derek Sherinian. The band released 4 acclaimed albums and toured internationally, proving that Glenn still commanded arenas decades after his first rise. Alongside that, he led California Breed, joined the Dead Daisies, and continued releasing powerful solo work such as Resonate in 2016, and Heavy in 2019, records that reflected both his spiritual renewal and the undiminished force of his voice. Off stage, Glenn finally found stability when he met Gabrielle Dotson in 2000. They married that November and have remained together ever since, a relationship that became his emotional anchor. By the 2010s, Glenn had become something far rarer, a survivor, a mentor, and a living legend whose influence and integrity continued to shape rock music long after the spotlight first found him. In 2011, Glenn's autobiography, titled Glenn Hughes, The Autobiography, From Deep Purple to Black Country Communion, co-written with Joel McIver, was released by Jawbone Press. The book covers his early life, high-profile career with Deep Purple, his brief time with Black Sabbath, and his subsequent solo work, as well as his struggle with addiction and eventual recovery. Unlike many of his peers who drift into nostalgia or step away from the stage, Glenn has remained fully alive as an artist. He has continued touring, recording, and creating well into the 2020s, defying time with every performance. His voice, known affectionately as the voice of rock, has retained its range and emotional power, a rare gift for a singer whose journey began in the 1960s. After the strong response to Heavy in 2019, Glenn kept pushing forward creatively with new solo work, including Chosen in 2025, an album built around resilience, self-belief, and spiritual clarity. Praised for its honesty and modern edge, it showed that he was not living in the past, but still evolving as a contemporary artist with something urgent to say. At the same time, Glenn remained a vital force with the Dead Daisies, fronting the band with his unmistakable voice and bass, across tours in Europe, the United States, South America and Australia. He has also stayed closely connected to Deep Purple's legacy, having been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of the band in 2016, and appearing at tribute events and anniversary celebrations that recognize his defining role in the band's history. Though he has not rejoined the group, his era is now widely celebrated as one of the most daring and influential chapters the band ever produced. Even now, Glenn continues to write, collaborate, connect with fans and plan new projects. In early 2026, however, he made the responsible decision to pause touring after cancelling his scheduled shows, including US dates, due to a minor health issue requiring treatment. Following medical advice, he chose recovery over risk, and the flood of support from fans worldwide reflected the deep respect he has earned. True to form, Glenn has made it clear this is only a pause, not an ending, and has every intention of returning stronger when the moment feels right. And there you have it. From Canuck to the world's biggest stages, Glenn Hughes has built a career defined by powerful music, fearless creativity, and a voice that continues to inspire fans across generations. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on your favorite artists, just like this. Take care and bye for now.